In a very quiet medieval land far away from anything urgent or important, a slow morning begins. Nothing special is happening. There is no rush. There is no excitement. There is no reason to hurry. The sky is a soft, pale grey, slowly turning into a gentle shade of light beige. The sun has not fully risen yet, and it seems in no hurry to do so. It simply waits, as if it understands that this world prefers calm over speed. The air is cool, but not cold. It rests gently on the ground. It does not move much. A small medieval village lies quietly beneath this slow sky. The village is made of simple stone and wood houses. Their roofs are uneven and slightly worn, showing signs of many quiet years passing by. The walls are dull and faded, coloured in soft browns and muted greys. Nothing is bright. Nothing shines. Everything looks tired but peaceful. There are no sounds of carts, no voices calling out, no animals making noise. Even the birds are still asleep. The dirt road running through the centre of the village is empty. It curves gently between the houses, but no one is walking on it yet. The ground is dry and firm, marked with old footprints that no longer matter. Time feels slow here, very slow. In one small house near the edge of the village, a medieval peasant lies sleeping. His room is plain and undecorated. The walls are bare stone. The floor is cold and rough. There is a simple wooden bed, slightly uneven, with a thin mattress filled with straw. A coarse blanket rests loosely over him. It is not very warm, but it is enough. He breathes slowly, in and out. His face is calm. There is no dream that excites him. There is no worry disturbing his rest. This man has lived many quiet days before, and he will live many more. The morning light slowly creeps into the room through a small square window. The glass is cloudy and imperfect, softening the light until it becomes gentle and dull. The light touches the stone wall first, then the wooden floor, then the edge of the bed. Still the man does not wake. There is no alarm. There is no bell. There is only time. Outside, the village remains silent. A wooden fence stands near a small garden. The soil is dark and slightly damp from the night air. Nothing grows quickly here. Even the plants seem unhurried. A bucket sits beside a well, exactly where it was left the day before. The rope is coiled neatly, untouched. Nothing has changed. Slowly, very slowly, the man in the small house begins to stir. Not because he must, but because the day has gently arrived. He opens his eyes just a little. The room looks exactly the same as it did yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. This comforts him. He lies still for a moment longer, listening to the quiet. There is nothing to hear except his own breathing and the faint sound of wind brushing against stone outside. Eventually he sits up. The wooden bed creaks softly, but even the sound feels tired and calm. He rubs his eyes slowly. There is no urgency in his movements, no goal to reach quickly, no task that demands attention. He simply sits. The man stands after a long pause and places his feet on the cold stone floor. He feels the chill briefly, but he is used to it. It does not bother him. He stretches his arms slightly, then lets them fall back to his sides. The day has begun. He walks slowly to the door and opens it. Outside, the village is still mostly asleep. A light mist floats close to the ground, moving so slowly it is almost impossible to notice. The air smells faintly of earth and old wood. The man steps outside and looks around. There is nothing new to see, and that is exactly how he likes it. He walks toward the well, each step steady and unremarkable. His boots are worn and dusty, shaped by years of walking the same paths. At the well, he picks up the bucket and lowers it down carefully. The rope slides over the wooden beam with a quiet, dull sound. Down, down, until it reaches the water. He pulls it up again, slowly, feeling the weight increase as the bucket fills. When it reaches the top, he sets it down gently. The water inside barely ripples. He takes a sip. The water tastes plain. Not good, not bad, just water. After that, he sits on a low stone near the well and rests for a while. There is no reason to hurry back inside. The day is long, and it does not expect much from him. Across the village, another house shows signs of waking. A door opens quietly. Someone steps out. They do not speak. The village begins to wake in pieces, but very slowly, like a tired animal stretching after a long rest. A woman sweeps the dirt near her doorway, not because it must be clean, but because this is what she always does. The broom moves gently back and forth, raising a small cloud of dust that settles again almost immediately. A man adjusts a loose wooden shutter and then stands still, looking at nothing in particular. There are no greetings, no conversations, only simple movements. The sun rises a little higher, but its light remains soft. It does not shine brightly. It does not demand attention. The peasant stands again and walks back toward his house. Inside, he prepares a very simple meal, a piece of bread, a small bit of cheese, nothing more. He eats slowly, sitting on a low stool near the wall. Each bite is small and unimportant. He chews, he swallows, he waits. After eating, he places the bread away and rinses his hands with a small amount of water. The water drips onto the stone floor and disappears into nothing. There is work to do today, but it is not difficult work, and it is not urgent. He steps outside again and begins walking toward the fields beyond the village. The path is familiar, every stone is known, every turn expected. The fields stretch out quietly, filled with low crops and dull green plants. There is no wind strong enough to move them much. They stand still as if waiting. The man bends down and inspects the soil. It looks fine. That is enough. He begins working slowly, carefully, without thought or emotion. His hands move in a rhythm that has repeated itself countless times. There is no pressure, no reward, just motion. Time passes without notice. The sun climbs a little higher. The air warms slightly. The village continues its quiet existence. Nothing dramatic happens. Nothing changes the course of the day. And that is how it should be. As the morning drifts on, the peasant pauses his work and looks out over the land. The view is plain, the colors are muted, the horizon is soft and unremarkable. He feels calm, not happy, not sad, just calm. And as the day continues its slow journey forward, the medieval world remains exactly as it was meant to be. Quiet, simple, and gently boring. The afternoon arrives without announcing itself. There is no clear moment when morning ends and afternoon begins. It simply happens, slowly, quietly, without anyone noticing. The sun is now higher in the sky, but it still feels gentle. Its light spreads evenly across the land, not harsh, not sharp, just present. The medieval fields remain calm. The same peasant from the morning continues his work, moving at an unchanging pace. His movements are repetitive, almost mechanical, but not tiring. His body knows what to do without thinking. He bends down, he straightens up. He moves a few steps forward, again and again and again. There is no sound except the soft brushing of plants and the faint movement of cloth as he shifts his weight. No one speaks. In the distance, another peasant works a separate patch of land. They do not look at each other. There is no reason to. They already know the other is there. They have seen each other every day for years. The land itself feels sleepy. The soil is warm now, holding the sun's gentle heat. Small insects move slowly near the ground, but even they seem unhurried. Time stretches. Minutes feel long. Hours feel soft. Nothing demands attention. Eventually, the peasant pauses, not because he is tired, not because something happened, but because this is usually the time he pauses. He stands still and looks around. The fields look the same in every direction. Rows of crops extend outward, fading into dull green and brown shapes. The horizon is slightly blurred by warm air. He takes a slow breath, in, out. He sits down on a flat stone near the edge of the field. The stone is warm. He places his hands on his knees and simply sits. There is nothing to think about. The past does not matter. The future does not hurry. The present is enough. A soft breeze passes through, moving the plants just a little. The sound is gentle and repetitive, like a quiet whisper that never forms words. Somewhere far away, a bird makes a single sound, then silence again. The peasant closes his eyes for a moment, not to sleep, just to rest. When he opens them again, the world looks exactly the same. After a long while, he stands and walks slowly back toward the village. The path feels familiar beneath his feet. Every step lands where it has landed many times before. The dust rises slightly, then settles again. As he enters the village, he notices small signs of afternoon life. A door left open. A bucket moved a little closer to the well. A piece of cloth hanging quietly in the sun, nothing dramatic. Near one house, an older man sits on a bench, doing absolutely nothing. His hands rest in his lap. His eyes are half closed. He appears neither awake nor asleep. They do not greet each other. There is no need. The peasant walks to his home and steps inside. The inside air is cooler than outside. The stone walls keep the warmth away. Shadows rest in the corners of the room, unmoving. He sits on his stool again. For a long time, he does nothing. Then he reaches for a small wooden bowl and pours a little water into it. He drinks slowly, one small sip at a time. The water is plain. It always is. He sets the bowl down carefully and leans back against the wall. The afternoon stretches onward. Outside, the village seems to slow even more. The sun remains high, but activity decreases instead of increasing. People rest. Animals rest. Even sounds seem to rest. A dog lies in the shade, not sleeping, just existing. A cart stands motionless near the road, its wheels dusty and forgotten for now. No one moves it. No one plans to. The peasant stands again and steps outside once more. He walks toward the center of the village, not because he must, but because this is part of the day. Near the well, he stops. The bucket still sits there. He lifts it slightly, checks the rope, then sets it back down. Nothing else happens. He looks at the sky. The sun has begun its slow descent, but it is still far from evening. The light remains steady and calm. He walks to a low wooden fence and leans against it. Time continues to pass. In another part of the village, a woman stirs something in a pot over a small fire. The smell is faint and uninteresting. It will be the same meal as always. She stirs slowly. She stops. She stirs again. No rush. The peasant watches dust drift through the air, catching light for a moment before falling away. He feels no emotion about it. The afternoon continues. Eventually, he returns to the fields one last time. Not to work much, just to check. He walks among the rows, touching a plant here and there, nodding slightly as if acknowledging their presence. Everything seems fine. That is enough. He turns back toward the village again. As the sun lowers, shadows grow longer but still soft. The light becomes warmer, spreading a gentle golden tone over stone and dirt. The village looks slightly different now, but not significantly. Still quiet. Still slow. The peasant enters his home once more and prepares a very simple evening meal. Bread again, water again, nothing else. He eats slowly, chewing each bite without thought. After eating, he cleans the bowl and places it back where it belongs. He sits. He waits. Outside, the light continues to fade, but not quickly. The sky shifts through pale colors, none of them bright enough to demand attention. The village settles into itself. Doors close softly. Fires dim. Movement decreases. The peasant steps outside one last time and looks at the quiet road. Nothing moves. Satisfied, he goes back inside. He lies down on his bed, pulling the thin blanket over himself. The room is dim now, but not dark. A faint glow remains through the small window. He breathes slowly. In, out. The day has passed without importance, and that is good. As his eyes grow heavy, the medieval world continues exactly as it always does. Unnoticed, uneventful, and deeply calm. Evening does not arrive suddenly, it seeps in. The light outside slowly loses its strength, becoming softer with every passing moment. The sky does not change color quickly. It takes its time, as if it has nowhere else to be. Inside the small stone house, the peasant lies still on his bed. He's not asleep yet. His eyes remain closed, but his thoughts are light and unfocused. They drift without forming any clear idea. The room feels calm. The walls hold the day's coolness. The air is quiet, resting gently around him. Outside, the village grows even quieter than before. A door closes somewhere, slowly and carefully. A faint footstep fades into nothing. Then silence returns. The peasant's breathing becomes slower. In, out. His body relaxes further into the simple bed beneath him. There is no clock. There is no reason to measure time. The evening simply continues. A faint breeze slips through the small window opening, barely moving the thin cloth that hangs nearby. It shifts once, then becomes still again. The peasant's mind drifts, not to memories, not to plans, just drifting. Outside, the sky deepens into softer tones. Pale gold turns to dull orange, then slowly to muted grey. A bird settles somewhere nearby for the night. There is no sound from it, only the idea of rest. In another house, a candle burns low. Its flame barely moves. It gives just enough light to show shadows that do not change. The village rests. Time stretches gently. The peasant shifts slightly, pulling the blanket a little closer. The fabric feels familiar. It has been used for many years. His breathing remains slow and steady. In the fields beyond the village, nothing moves. The crops stand quietly, exactly as they did all day. They do not react to the coming night. They simply exist. The dirt paths hold the warmth of the sun a little longer, then slowly release it. Somewhere far away, an owl might wake. If it does, no one notices. The evening deepens further. Inside the house, darkness grows softly, never becoming complete. The moonlight begins to replace the sun's glow, slipping gently through the window. The peasant remains still. He is now drifting closer to sleep. Thoughts appear briefly, then fade. He thinks of nothing specific. He remembers nothing important. The day was ordinary, that is enough. Outside, the village seems to disappear into the night. Shapes blur, edges soften. A wooden cart near the road looks like part of the ground now. A fence blends into shadow. Nothing stands out. The world feels smaller and quieter. In the distance, a slow-moving cloud passes in front of the moon, dimming the light for a moment. Then it moves on. Inside, the peasant exhales slowly. His body sinks further into rest. The quiet becomes deeper. In another home, an old woman lies awake, listening to the silence. She does not move. She has listened to this same silence for many years. It comforts her. The silence does not demand anything. It simply exists. Minutes pass, or hours. There is no difference. The night continues. A faint sound of wind passes through the village, brushing against stone and wood. It does not linger. The peasant's breathing becomes even slower now. His mind drifts fully. Images appear without meaning. Soft shapes, dull colors, no clear edges. The medieval world continues its quiet routine. No alarms, no sudden noises, no urgency. The moon rises higher. Its light moves slowly across the floor, inch by inch, as time passes unnoticed. The peasant does not see it. He is nearly asleep now. Outside the village, beyond the fields, the land stretches endlessly. Hills lie still. Trees do not move. Everything feels settled. Even the air seems heavy with calm. The night deepens. Somewhere, water in a stream flows gently, but the sound is too far away to hear. The village remains wrapped in stillness. Inside the house, the peasant finally drifts into sleep. Not suddenly, slowly. His breathing remains steady. In, out. The blanket rises and falls slightly. The room holds him. Time continues, but gently. The night carries on. Hours pass without event. The moon shifts again. Shadows move almost imperceptibly. Nothing interrupts the calm. In the early hours of night, the village exists in a perfect state of uneventfulness. No dreams disturb the peasant. If he dreams at all, they are vague and soft, fading before they fully form. The medieval world remains unchanged. The same stone walls, the same dirt paths, the same quiet lives. The night continues its slow journey. Eventually, the moon begins its gradual descent. But that is still far away. For now, the world rests. The peasant sleeps, the village sleeps, the fields sleep, and nothing happens. The night has settled fully now, not in a dramatic way, not suddenly. It has simply stayed long enough to feel permanent. The moon hangs quietly above the village, pale and dull, offering light that does not ask to be noticed. Its glow rests gently on rooftops, stone walls and empty paths. Nothing changes quickly. Inside the small stone house, the peasant remains asleep. His body lies heavy and relaxed, as if the bed itself is holding him in place. His breathing is slow, steady, and unbroken. In, out. There is no movement in his face, no tension, no sign of thought. Sleep has arrived completely. The room around him feels still, as though even the air has decided not to move. The thin blanket lies where it was pulled earlier. It does not shift. It does not wrinkle further. The night deepens. Outside, the village exists in a state of quiet balance. No lights flicker. No doors open. No footsteps disturb the ground. The dirt road that runs through the center of the village looks almost smooth now, shadows filling every uneven mark. A wooden fence stands beside it, unchanged, exactly as it has stood for years. Time passes. Somewhere in the distance, an owl watches from a tree branch. It does not call, it simply observes, still and patient. The fields beyond the village remain dark and quiet. Crops stand motionless, their shapes barely visible under the moonlight. They do not sway, they do not whisper. They wait. Inside another house, a man turns slightly in his sleep, then becomes still again. The movement is small, barely noticeable. The night accepts it without reaction. The village remains calm. Clouds drift slowly across the sky, thin and quiet. When one passes in front of the moon, the light softens even more. Shadows blur. Then the cloud moves on. The peasant continues sleeping, unaware of time or place. His mind has gone somewhere distant, but not anywhere important. If thoughts appear, they are slow and unformed. There are no dreams worth remembering. The medieval world does not rush. It never has. Stone walls hold the coolness of the night. Wooden beams rest silently, bearing no weight beyond their purpose. A cart near the edge of the village sits exactly where it was left earlier in the day. One wheel leans slightly into the dirt. It will remain there until morning. Hours pass, or perhaps minutes. There is no clear difference. The moon shifts slightly higher, then slowly begins its long path downward. Its light moves across rooftops at a pace too slow to notice. The peasant's breathing remains unchanged, in, out. Each breath blends into the next. The silence grows deeper, but not heavier. It is comfortable, familiar, and expected. Somewhere far beyond the village, a stream continues to flow. Its water moves gently over stones, creating a sound that never reaches this place. The village does not need it. The air remains cool and calm. A faint breeze moves once, brushing against the outer wall of the peasant's house. It does not enter. It simply passes by and disappears. The night continues. Inside the house, the peasant shifts slightly, a small movement of his shoulder. The blanket rises and falls, then settles again. Stillness returns immediately. The moonlight reaches the floor near the bed now, forming a soft shape that slowly changes as time moves forward. The peasant does not notice. Sleep holds him firmly, but gently. In another corner of the village, an old wooden sign creaks softly as it settles further into place. The sound is brief and quiet. No one hears it. The sign remains where it is. The medieval world remains unchanged. The night grows older. Darkness does not deepen further. It simply remains. The sky holds its dull stars, scattered faintly, offering no patterns that matter. The village exists as it always has, simple, quiet, and unremarkable. The peasant continues to rest. His face is calm. His body remains heavy. There is nothing he needs to do. There is nowhere he needs to go. The night asks nothing of him. Time stretches long and thin. A distant animal moves through the fields far away, unseen and unheard. It passes through the darkness without leaving a trace. The fields remain still. The crops do not react. The village does not notice. Inside the peasant's mind, everything is quiet. Thoughts do not form words. Images fade before becoming clear. Sleep remains deep. The moon's light slowly shifts again, touching the edge of the bed, then moving past it. The room remains unchanged. The walls do not speak. The floor does not creak. The air does not stir. The night continues its slow journey. At some point, the moon begins to sink lower. Its light becomes softer, less direct. Shadows stretch and blur. The village remains asleep. Even time itself seems to pause, unwilling to interrupt the calm. The peasant remains asleep, breathing evenly. In, out. Each breath is steady and unhurried. The medieval world holds its silence. Nothing happens. And nothing needs to. The night simply exists, carrying the village gently toward morning, though morning is still far away. For now, there is only rest, only quiet, only sleep. The night continues, not forward, not backward, it simply remains. The village stays wrapped in quiet darkness, as if the world has paused to rest. The moon now sits lower in the sky, its light softer than before, certain, almost tired. Shadows stretch across the ground, but they do not move quickly enough to notice. Inside the small stone house, the peasant sleeps on. His breathing is calm. In, out. The sound is steady, almost blending with the silence itself. The room feels cooler now, though nothing has changed. The stone walls hold the night air gently, keeping everything still and calm. The wooden beams above do not creak. The floor does not shift. Everything stays exactly where it is meant to be. Outside, the village paths lie empty. The dirt road has lost its shape in the darkness, becoming smooth and undefined. The cart near the edge of the village remains untouched. One wheel presses into the soil, holding the weight it has held for years. Time passes slowly. Somewhere far away, a rooster stirs in its sleep, but does not wake. It shifts once, then becomes still again. The night allows it. The fields beyond the village remain quiet. The crops stand tall and motionless, their leaves barely visible under the fading moonlight. No wind passes through them. No sound escapes. The peasant shifts slightly in his sleep, turning his head just enough to settle deeper into rest. His expression remains relaxed, empty of worry. Sleep holds him firmly now. If a dream exists, it is slow and colorless. Nothing sharp. Nothing clear. Just rest. The moonlight slips across the outer wall of the house, then slowly drifts away. Darkness fills the space it leaves behind. The night grows heavier but not uncomfortable. It feels safe. The medieval world breathes quietly. Inside another house nearby, a candle has long since burned out. The wick is cold. Wax has hardened into soft shapes. No one notices. No one needs to. The silence continues without effort. Hours pass, or perhaps only moments. It is difficult to tell. The sky changes slowly, almost invisibly. The deep black softens into a slightly lighter shade, though dawn is still far away. Stars fade one by one, not disappearing, just becoming less important. The peasant continues to sleep, in, out. Each breath remains slow and even. The bed does not shift beneath him. The blanket stays in place, rising and falling gently. Outside, a tree branch bends slightly under its own weight, then rests again. The sound it makes is too quiet to matter. The village remains unaware. The medieval world does not hurry. Stone houses stand firm, holding centuries of quiet within their walls. Wooden doors remain closed, their surfaces worn smooth by time. Nothing new happens, nothing old ends, the night stretches onward. The peasant's sleep deepens further. His body feels heavy, settled, fully relaxed. There is no reason to wake, there is no reason to move. The world asks nothing of him. Far beyond the village, a stream continues its slow journey over rocks and soil. The sound remains distant, never reaching this place. The village does not need it. The air remains cool and calm. A thin cloud drifts across the sky, dimming the moon even more. Light fades softly, never suddenly. Darkness grows gentle. The fields remain still. The village remains asleep. Inside the peasant's mind, thoughts drift without form. They do not connect. They do not demand attention. Sleep remains uninterrupted. Time continues its slow, quiet path. Eventually the moon sinks closer to the horizon, its light now faint and tired. Shadows lose their shape, blending together. The night begins to loosen its grip, though it does not leave yet. The peasant remains asleep. In, out. His breathing does not change. The house remains silent. The village remains untouched. Everything waits. The medieval world rests, holding the quiet carefully, as if afraid to disturb it. Nothing happens. And that is exactly how it should be. The night is still not finished, but it has begun to soften, not in a way that can be seen clearly, only felt. The darkness around the village becomes less heavy, as if it is slowly lifting its weight from the land. The sky remains dark, but no longer deep black. It turns into a quiet, muted shade, resting between night and morning. Nothing announces this change. It simply happens. The peasant remains asleep. His breathing continues at the same slow rhythm. In, out. The stone walls of the house hold the cool air gently. The room feels unchanged, though time has passed quietly. The wooden door remains closed. The latch does not move. A faint line of lighter darkness begins to form near the horizon, far beyond the fields. It is not light yet. It is only the idea of light. The village does not react. Houses remain silent. Paths remain empty. The cart by the road stays exactly where it was, its shadow now blending softly into the ground beneath it. The peasant shifts once in his sleep, not waking, only settling more deeply. His body feels heavy, relaxed, completely still again. Sleep holds him without effort. Outside, the fields remain calm. The crops do not sway. No breeze touches them yet. The air feels thick and quiet. Somewhere, very far away, an owl finishes its nightly watch and grows still. Its work is done. The night allows rest. The medieval world continues breathing slowly, patiently. The sky lightens just enough to soften the edges of things. Shapes become slightly clearer, though no color has returned yet. Stone remains stone. Wood remains wood. Everything remains exactly what it has always been. Inside the house, the peasant's blanket rises and falls gently with each breath. The fabric is worn smooth from years of use. There is comfort in its familiarity. No sound interrupts the silence. No thought interrupts sleep. Time moves forward quietly. The faint outline of the hills becomes visible against the sky. They do not change. They do not move. They simply exist. The village remains wrapped in stillness. A small bird shifts on a roof beam, half awake, then settles again. It does not sing. It is not time yet. The peasant continues to sleep. In, out. His face remains calm, empty of concern. The hours before morning stretch slowly, gently, without urgency. The darkness continues to thin like a heavy curtain being lifted very slowly, one invisible inch at a time. The village does not rush to wake. The medieval world has learned patience. Stone houses have stood through countless nights like this. They know how to wait. The dirt paths begin to show faint texture again. Small stones reappear, though their colors remain muted and dull. Nothing sparkles. Nothing shines. Everything stays soft. Inside the peasant's mind, dreams drift quietly. If images appear, they are slow and faded, like old memories with no meaning attached. Sleep remains deep. Outside the village, the stream continues its quiet movement. The sound is still too far away to be heard. The air grows slightly warmer, but only barely. The sky shifts again, moving closer to grey than black. The stars fade without ceremony, disappearing one by one. The moon has already sunk low, no longer watching. The village remains unobserved. The peasant's breathing remains steady. In, out. His body does not ask to wake. The house stays quiet. No footsteps echo, no doors open. The medieval world continues resting. The first true hint of morning approaches, though it is still distant. The light has not arrived yet, only the promise of it. The fields remain still. The crops stand patiently, waiting for warmth that has not come yet. The village paths remain empty, untouched by feet or wheels. The peasant remains asleep. The slow hours before dawn pass without event. Time flows gently, like thick honey. Nothing happens, and that nothing feels safe. The sky lightens just a little more, softening the shadows even further. Darkness loosens its hold, but does not leave completely. The world stays quiet. The peasant sleeps on. In, out, everything waits. The medieval world breathes slowly, preparing for another ordinary day that has not yet begun. And for now, rest remains uninterrupted. Morning arrives, but it does not arrive suddenly. It does not knock. It does not announce itself. It simply becomes present. The sky above the medieval village slowly turns into a pale, colorless gray. Not bright, not dark, just neutral, balanced, resting. Light spreads gently, touching the tops of roofs first, then the empty paths, then the quiet fields beyond. Nothing reacts. The village does not wake all at once. It never has. The stone houses remain still, holding the last traces of night inside their walls. The wooden doors stay closed. The shutters remain drawn. Inside one small house, the peasant continues to sleep. His breathing remains slow. In, out. The light slips through a narrow gap in the shutters, resting on the floor without intention. It does not move quickly, it simply rests there. The room feels unchanged, the same quiet, the same cool air, the same stillness. The peasant does not open his eyes. There is no reason to. The morning does not demand attention. Outside, the village paths remain empty. No footsteps yet, no carts, no voices. The ground holds the faint memory of yesterday, but nothing stirs it. A bird somewhere on a roof finally opens its eyes. It does not sing. It only adjusts its feathers and stays still again. The fields remain calm. The crops stand upright, untouched by wind. The air remains heavy and slow. The sun has not fully risen. It stays hidden behind thin cloud, softening everything it touches. Shadows exist, but they are weak and gentle. Inside the house, the peasant shifts slightly, turning his head just a little. He remains asleep. Sleep holds him firmly, comfortably. The blanket moves with his breathing. In, out. Morning continues to arrive quietly. The sky grows slightly brighter, but still without color. No blue yet, no warmth yet. The medieval world does not rush into the day. Time stretches. The stream beyond the village continues its slow movement. The sound remains distant, barely existing. The village remains wrapped in quiet. The peasant's body feels heavy, relaxed, settled into the bed as if it belongs there permanently. There are no thoughts, no plans, no worries, only rest. Outside, a faint breeze passes through the fields, then stops. It does not return immediately. The crops barely move. The houses remain still. The paths remain empty. Morning waits. The light grows slightly stronger, touching the stone walls more clearly now. Textures appear gently. Cracks in the stone become visible, but remain unimportant. Nothing demands focus. Inside the peasant's mind, dreams fade slowly. Not replaced by thoughts, only replaced by deeper calm. Sleep remains in, out. The room grows brighter, but not enough to wake anyone. The village continues its long habit of silence. A distant rooster considers crowing, then does not. The moment passes. Stillness returns. The peasant remains asleep. Time continues. The sky finally begins to show a hint of pale blue behind the clouds. though it remains muted and soft. Morning is present now, but quiet. The medieval world allows it to arrive slowly. The peasant's breathing deepens slightly, becoming even more steady. His body does not resist sleep. It welcomes it. Outside, the paths begin to dry from the night's dampness, though no one walks them yet. The village remains unoccupied. The fields remain patient. Morning light rests everywhere without urgency. The house remains quiet. The peasant sleeps on. In, out. Nothing new happens, and that is exactly how it should be. The sun rises higher, still hidden behind cloud. The warmth remains gentle, barely noticeable. The village begins to exist more clearly, but not loudly. Stone houses stand unchanged. Wooden beams rest where they always have. Nothing shifts. The peasant's face remains calm, expressionless, free of tension. Sleep continues to protect him from the day. Time flows slowly, evenly. No moments stand out. No events form. Morning becomes complete, without disturbance. The medieval world continues exactly as it always has. Quiet, still, unrushed. The peasant remains asleep, breathing softly, safely, in, out. The day waits. The morning has arrived, but nothing reacts to it. The medieval village remains calm, as if it does not notice the passing of time at all. Light rests everywhere now, evenly spread, gentle and quiet. The sky stays pale. The air remains cool. Nothing rushes forward. Inside the small stone house, the peasant still lies asleep. His breathing continues in a slow, steady rhythm. In, out. The light reaches further into the room, touching the edges of the wooden table, the simple stool, the floor made smooth by years of use. Nothing moves. The peasant's body remains heavy with rest. Sleep holds him without effort. Outside, the village paths finally show signs of life, though very faint. A door creaks somewhere far away, then becomes still again. No voices follow. The sound fades into the background. The fields beyond the village remain unchanged. The crops stand patiently, unmoving, as if waiting for something that may never come. A thin breeze passes once more, brushing lightly against the tall grass, then disappears. Stillness returns. The peasant shifts slightly, turning onto his back. His eyes remain closed. Sleep does not loosen its hold. Time stretches gently. Morning settles deeper into the world. The village begins its day without ceremony. No bells ring. No announcements are made. Life simply continues, quietly. The peasant's breathing remains steady. In, out. The room grows warmer by a small amount, barely noticeable. The stone walls absorb the light slowly, holding on to the coolness of the night. Nothing changes quickly here. The peasant's mind remains empty, calm, untouched by thought. Dreams no longer form, but waking does not arrive either. He rests in the space between. Outside, a second bird moves along a roof beam. It makes no sound. The village paths remain mostly empty. A single figure appears briefly at the far end of the road, then disappears behind a stone wall. No footsteps echo. The moment passes. The peasant remains asleep. The day continues to unfold slowly without expectation. The sky shifts slightly, clouds thinning just enough to allow a softer light through. Shadows grow faint, then blur again. Everything remains balanced. Inside the house, dust floats lazily in the air, visible only when caught by the light. The peasant's chest rises and falls gently, in, out. There is no reason to wake yet. The medieval world does not demand it. Time feels wide here, unmeasured, uncounted. The peasant eventually stirs again, his fingers moving slightly, relaxing once more against the blanket. Sleep remains comfortable. Outside, the fields begin to warm under the light. The soil holds the warmth without releasing it quickly. The village remains quiet, as if wrapped in a shared understanding of stillness. Morning does not hurry, neither does the day. The peasant's body remains supported, relaxed, settled into rest. Thoughts do not form. Plans do not appear. There is only breathing. In, out. The room feels peaceful, unchanged, familiar. The wooden ceiling beams remain overhead, unmoving. The floor remains cool. The air remains soft. Time continues without marking itself. The peasant's eyes flutter once, then remain closed. Waking does not arrive fully. He stays suspended in rest. Outside, a distant sound drifts through the village, perhaps a cartwheel turning slowly somewhere beyond sight. It does not grow louder, it fades. Silence returns. The medieval world continues its gentle pace. The peasant remains still. The morning settles into a quiet routine. Light now fills the room completely, but still nothing demands attention. The peasant breathes deeply, comfortably. In, out. There is no urgency, no reason to move, no need to think. The day exists. That is enough. The village paths remain mostly empty. Those who wake do so quietly, without disturbing the calm. Life continues gently, in the background. The peasant remains asleep, protected by the steady rhythm of breath. Time flows on, unnoticed. The world stays calm, and rest remains unbroken. The day has moved forward, but it still feels unhurried. Late morning rests gently over the medieval village like a soft blanket laid across stone and soil. The light is brighter now, but it remains calm, never sharp. Nothing insists on attention. Inside the small stone house, the peasant finally begins to wake, not suddenly, not fully. His breathing changes first. In, out. A slightly deeper breath, then another. His body remains heavy, relaxed, resting against the simple bed. His eyes stay closed even as awareness slowly returns. There is no rush to open them. The day will wait. The room feels familiar, unchanged. The wooden table stands quietly near the wall. The stool rests where it always has. The air smells faintly of earth and old wood. The peasant moves one hand slowly, letting his fingers stretch and relax. No thought forms yet. Only sensation. The weight of the blanket, the coolness of the stone beneath, the gentle warmth of the light. Eventually his eyes open. They do not widen. They simply rest half open, unfocused, adjusting slowly to the brightness. He does not sit up immediately. There is no reason to hurry. Outside, the village remains calm. A few distant sounds drift through the air. Soft movements, muted voices far away, but nothing comes close. The peasant takes another breath. In, out. Then slowly, he turns onto his side and pushes himself upright. The movement is unremarkable, no stiffness, no strain, just slow motion. He sits on the edge of the bed for a long moment, letting the day settle around him. The room does not change. The world does not react. Time continues quietly. When he finally stands, he does so without effort. His feet touch the cool floor, grounding him gently. He stretches once, slowly, arms lifting and lowering without purpose. Then he stops. That is enough. He reaches for his simple brown tunic, pulling it on without thought. The fabric hangs loosely, worn soft by time. Nothing about it feels new. Nothing needs to be. He steps outside. The late morning air meets him calmly. The village path lies quiet, stone walls standing still on either side. A neighbour passes at a distance, offering no words. A small nod is enough. The peasant returns it. No conversation follows. He walks slowly toward the fields, his steps even, unmeasured. The ground beneath his feet feels firm and familiar. The fields stretch ahead, green and patient. Work waits. But it does not demand speed. He reaches the edge of the field and pauses, looking out across the land. The crops stand quietly, moving only slightly when the breeze touches them. The peasant breathes in, out. Then he begins. The work is simple, repetitive, predictable. He moves along the rows slowly, checking the soil, adjusting a small stone here, brushing away a leaf there. There is no urgency. The sun remains gentle overhead. Minutes pass, then more. Time flows without being counted. The peasant's movements settle into a rhythm. Bend, straighten, step forward, again and again. His thoughts remain light, drifting nowhere in particular. The mind stays quiet. The body knows what to do. Occasionally he pauses, standing still, listening to the soft sounds around him. Wind through leaves, a bird far away, footsteps somewhere beyond the field. Nothing interrupts the calm. He continues. The work fills the time without filling the mind. The day stretches long and open. Eventually he stops and sits on a low stone at the edge of the field. Rest comes naturally. He takes a slow drink of water, feeling the coolness, then sets it aside. The sky remains pale blue. Clouds drift lazily. Nothing changes quickly. He watches the land without expectation. Breathing remains steady. In, out. The village continues its quiet rhythm behind him. Somewhere a door opens and closes. Somewhere else a cart rolls slowly along a distant path. None of it matters. All of it exists. After resting, he stands again and resumes his slow work. The movements repeat. The rhythm deepens. The body relaxes further. Time loses shape. The sun shifts slightly, shadows moving almost imperceptibly across the ground. The peasant does not notice. He does not need to. Eventually, the work feels complete. Not because everything is finished, but because it is enough for now. He turns back toward the village, walking at the same steady pace. The path welcomes him back quietly. Stone walls, wooden doors, soft light. The village remains unchanged. He reaches his home and steps inside. The room feels cooler now, protected from the sun. He sits at the table briefly, eating slowly, without rush. Each movement is unforced. Each moment passes gently. When he finishes, he leans back slightly, closing his eyes for a moment. Rest returns easily. The day does not demand more. Outside, late morning begins its slow transition toward afternoon, but inside the house, time remains soft. The peasant breathes. In, out. The world stays calm. The routine of the day settles deeper into quiet. And everything continues, slowly. The afternoon arrives without announcement. It does not rush in. It does not change much. It simply becomes. The peasant remains inside his small stone house, resting quietly after the slow work of the morning. The room feels still, as if even the air has decided not to move too much. Light filters through the small window, softer now than before. It falls across the floor in a dull, gentle shape. Nothing sharp, nothing bright, just light. The peasant sits in his chair, leaning back slightly. His hands rest loosely in his lap. His eyes remain half closed, not asleep, not fully awake. Breathing continues, in, out. Each breath is slow, unforced, natural. Time stretches. There is no clock. There is no need for one. Outside, the village continues its quiet afternoon routine. Sounds drift in faintly, Distant footsteps, a soft knock of wood against stone, a murmur far away, but none of it comes close. The peasant does not react. He simply remains. After a long while, he shifts slightly in his chair. The movement is minimal, just enough to stay comfortable. The chair creaks softly, then settles. Silence returns. The peasant opens his eyes a little more and looks around the room. The wooden table stands where it always has. A simple bowl rests upon it. The walls show the same faint marks of age and time. Everything is familiar. Everything is unchanged. He stands slowly, not because he must, but because it feels like the natural next step. His feet move across the floor at an easy pace. No hurry. He steps outside again. The afternoon air greets him gently. The sun sits higher, but its warmth feels relaxed, almost lazy. The village looks the same. Stone houses, narrow paths, closed doors. A few villagers move quietly, each focused on their own small tasks. No one speaks, no one calls out. The peasant walks toward the well, his steps slow and even. Each footstep lands softly, almost without sound. When he reaches the well, he pauses. He does not rush to draw water. Instead, he rests his hand against the cool stone edge and looks down into the darkness below. The water rests calmly, reflecting a faint shimmer of light. He lowers the bucket slowly. The rope slides through his hands without effort. When the bucket touches the water, it does so quietly. He lifts it back up at the same steady pace. The movement is repetitive, comforting, familiar. He pours the water into a container and sets it aside. Then he stands still for a moment, listening, feeling, breathing, in, out. The afternoon continues to unfold. He walks back through the village, taking a slightly longer path this time. There is no reason to take the shortest route. He passes by a low stone wall where a cat lies stretched out, unmoving. The cat opens one eye briefly, then closes it again. Nothing more is required. The peasant continues on. Shadows grow longer, stretching lazily across the path. The light softens further, losing any remaining sharpness. The world slows even more. He reaches the edge of the fields again, not to work, but simply to stand and look. The crops sway gently. The breeze is light. The sound of leaves brushing against each other is barely audible. The peasant rests his weight evenly on both feet. He places his hands behind his back, and he waits. There is nothing to wait for, but waiting feels right. Time passes without marking itself. The afternoon moves forward, minute by minute, without any sense of urgency. Eventually, the peasant turns back toward the village once more. Walking, always walking at the same pace, always unhurried. Back inside his home, the light has shifted again. The room feels dimmer now, calmer. He sits down on the floor this time, leaning his back against the wall. The stone feels cool through the fabric of his tunic. His breathing deepens slightly. In, out. His thoughts drift slowly, like clouds moving across a wide sky. No thought stays long enough to matter. No memory pulls at him. No worry arrives. The afternoon holds him gently. At some point he closes his eyes again. Not to sleep, just to rest. His head tilts slightly to one side. His shoulders relax further. Outside, the village continues to exist, without him needing to observe it. Doors open and close quietly. Footsteps come and go. Life moves at its slow, steady pace. Inside, the peasant remains still, breathing in, out. The sun lowers gradually, unseen by him. Shadows stretch longer. The air cools a little. Time continues its soft journey forward. When he opens his eyes again, the light has changed noticeably. The afternoon is beginning to fade. He stands slowly, feeling grounded, calm. He prepares a simple meal, moving carefully, methodically. Each action follows the next without thought. Pick up, set down, stir, wait. Nothing complicated, nothing demanding. When the meal is ready, he eats slowly, chewing without hurry. The flavors are mild, familiar, comforting. He finishes and cleans up, placing everything back where it belongs. Order remains. The day feels complete. He steps outside once more. The sky has softened into warmer tones now. The light is low and calm. The village seems quieter than before. Even the distant sounds have faded. He walks a short distance, then stops, looking at the sky. He does not think about tomorrow. He does not think about yesterday. He simply stands, breathing, in, out. The afternoon slips gently toward evening, and the peasant allows it to happen, slowly, quietly, without resistance. Evening does not arrive suddenly. It settles slowly, gently, almost without being noticed. The peasant remains standing outside for a long moment, watching as the light continues to soften. The sky no longer feels bright, feels calm, as if the day itself is growing tired. The air cools slightly, not cold, just cooler than before. He breathes in and out. Each breath feels heavier than the last, not in a bad way, but in a grounding way, as if the air itself is inviting him to slow down even more. Around him, the village becomes quieter, not empty, just quieter. A door closes somewhere far away, footsteps fade, a voice murmurs briefly, then disappears. The peasant turns and begins walking back toward his home. His steps are steady, familiar, unchanging. Stone beneath his feet, soft earth between the stones. Nothing new, nothing surprising. When he reaches his door, he pauses before opening it. He rests his hand against the wood, feeling its texture worn smooth by years of use. Then he opens it. Inside, the house feels different now. Dim, still. The remaining light from outside slips in through the window, stretching across the floor in long, gentle lines. The peasant closes the door quietly behind him. The sound is soft, final. He moves slowly around the room, lighting a small candle. The flame flickers once, then steadies. Its glow is warm, low, comforting. He places the candle on the table and steps back, letting the room settle into its new evening shape. Shadows grow along the walls, corners fade. The room feels smaller, safer. He sits down again, this time on his simple bed. The fabric beneath him is rough but familiar. He leans forward slightly, resting his elbows on his knees. His head lowers. Not heavy, just relaxed. His breathing slows even more. In, out. Each breath stretches longer. Time feels wider. The peasant listens to the quiet, not searching for sound, just allowing whatever exists to exist. The candle flame flickers gently, responding to movements in the air, too subtle to notice otherwise. Minutes pass, or maybe longer. There is no way to tell. Eventually he stands again, moving with deliberate calm. He pours himself a small cup of water and drinks slowly. The water is cool, refreshing, simple. He sets the cup down and wipes his hands on his tunic. Everything has its place. Everything remains as it should. Outside, the sky darkens gradually. The last traces of daylight fade, leaving behind soft shades of blue and grey. The peasant steps closer to the window and looks out. The village rests. Houses stand quietly. Paths lie empty. The world feels paused, as if holding its breath. He watches without expectation, without thought. Then he turns away. The night is coming, and it feels natural. He lies down on his bed, resting on his side. He adjusts the blanket slowly, pulling it up just enough to feel warm. Not tight, not loose, just right. The candle continues to glow softly, casting slow-moving shadows across the ceiling. His eyes remain open for a while, blinking slowly, heavy. The room feels peaceful, safe, still. His breathing deepens further. In, out. The sounds outside fade even more. If there are any left, they are too distant to matter. The peasant's body grows heavier against the bed. Muscles loosen, shoulders sink. His hands rest comfortably, fingers relaxed. Time continues its quiet movement forward. At some point, his eyes close, not fully, just halfway. Thoughts drift past without forming. Images blur before they can become clear. The candle flame shortens slightly as the wax melts. The light dims a little, still enough, still warm. The peasant shifts once, barely noticeable. Then he settles again, breathing. In, out. The night deepens. Outside, the sky grows darker, stars faintly visible through thin clouds. Inside, the room feels wrapped in silence. The peasant's mind drifts further away from the day, from work, from movement, from effort. Everything slows further. His breathing becomes steady, rhythmic. Each inhale feels calm. Each exhale releases whatever remains of the day. The candle flickers gently, then steadies again. Minutes pass, long minutes, unmeasured. The night has fully arrived now. Not suddenly, not loudly. It has arrived the way it always does, quietly, softly. The peasant lies still on his bed, his body resting comfortably where it has settled. The room around him feels different in the darkness, larger, quieter, as if the walls themselves have stepped back to give him space. There is no candlelight anymore, only the faint glow of night slipping in through the window. His breathing is slow, even, unhurried. Each breath flows naturally into the next, without effort, without thought. In, out. The sounds of the village are gone now. No doors, no voices, no movement. Only the deep, steady quiet that belongs to night. Outside, the sky stretches wide and dark. Clouds drift lazily, covering and uncovering the stars. They move without direction, without urgency. Inside the house, the air is cool and calm. The peasant's body feels heavy in the best possible way. His arms rest easily at his sides. His legs are still. His shoulders have released their last bits of tension. Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be remembered. The day has fully passed. Time feels slow here, almost paused. Breathing continues in, out. With each breath, the peasant sinks a little deeper into rest, not falling, just settling, like dust, gently lowering after being stirred. His thoughts drift in and out, soft and unfinished. They do not form clear images, they do not ask questions, they simply pass. The night holds him. The bed supports him, the room surrounds him with quiet familiarity. Somewhere far away, perhaps a breeze moves through the trees. If it does, it is too distant to disturb anything. It only adds to the feeling that the world is resting too. The peasant shifts slightly, a natural movement, then becomes still again. His breathing remains steady. In, out. The darkness feels comforting now. It is not empty. It is full of calm. The shapes in the room blur into shadow. Edges soften. Corners disappear. There is nothing sharp here, nothing demanding attention. The night stretches onward, deep and unbroken. The peasant's mind drifts further from the waking world. Thoughts become slower, quieter, fewer. Eventually, even those fade. There is only the rhythm of breathing, in, out. The body knows what to do. It rests, it recovers, it lets go. Time moves gently forward, unnoticed. Outside, the village remains asleep. Houses stand silently. Paths lie undisturbed. Fields wait patiently for morning, but morning feels far away, unimportant. The present moment is enough. The peasant's breathing deepens slightly, then settles again. His chest rises, falls, rises, falls. Each movement is small, predictable, soothing. The night continues to hold everything in stillness. Nothing changes quickly. Nothing changes at all. And that is exactly how it should be. The darkness feels thick now, like a soft blanket covering the world. It presses gently, never heavy, never uncomfortable. Just enough to encourage rest. The peasant's face is relaxed, his jaw unclenched, his brow smooth. There is no effort in sleep now, only presence, only calm, only rest. Minutes pass, or hours. It makes no difference. The night does not count time. It simply exists. The room remains quiet. The air remains still. The world feels distant and safe. Breathing continues. In, out. The peasant drifts deeper into sleep, past light rest, past shallow dreams into a place where awareness softens and fades. Here there are no images, no sounds, no thoughts, just gentle darkness, just stillness. The body rests fully now, completely. The night remains steady, unchanging, patient. Outside, the sky slowly shifts almost imperceptibly. Stars move, clouds drift. Inside, nothing moves, nothing needs to. The peasant sleeps deeply, peacefully. The world waits quietly around him. The night holds, and everything remains calm. The night continues, not moving forward, not moving back. It simply continues. The peasant remains asleep, resting in the same quiet stillness where the night has placed him. His breathing is steady, slow and natural, like a gentle rhythm that no longer needs attention. In, out. The room stays dark, unchanged, familiar. Shadows rest against the walls without shifting. The window holds the night outside, letting only a soft presence of darkness enter. Nothing calls for awareness, nothing asks to be noticed. Sleep has fully taken hold now. The peasant's body feels distant, light, and heavy at the same time. Muscles are relaxed beyond effort. Bones rest where they are meant to be. The mind drifts somewhere quiet, where thoughts no longer form words, where memories no longer ask to be remembered. Here, there is only rest. The village outside remains silent. Roofs sit under the night sky without movement. Paths lie untouched. Fields stretch quietly, waiting for morning that does not feel close. Time moves slowly here, or perhaps it does not move at all. The peasant sleeps on, in, out. Each breath is gentle, predictable, soothing. The world feels wide and empty in the most peaceful way, empty of demands, empty of noise, empty of urgency. Somewhere far above, clouds drift across the dark sky. They do not rush, they do not stop. They move as they always have, without purpose, without concern. The night allows them. Inside the house, the air remains calm, cool, still. The peasant's sleep deepens further, settling into a quiet space where nothing reaches him. Sounds fade before they arrive. Thoughts dissolve before they begin. There are no dreams now, only rest. The bed supports him fully. The floor beneath remains solid and unmoving. The walls stand quietly, holding the space together. Everything feels stable, safe, unchanging. In, out. Breathing continues, slow and steady, like waves touching a distant shore that no one is watching. The night feels endless, and that feels comforting. There is no need to wake, no reason to move, no reason to think. The world continues gently without interruption. The peasant remains asleep. Time passes softly, without marking itself. Outside, the village stays wrapped in darkness. Windows remain dark, doors remain closed. Even the animals rest quietly, their presence felt but unseen. The night holds everything equally. Inside the peasant's mind, there is only quiet space, no direction, no destination, just a soft drifting, like floating on still water. Nothing pulls, nothing pushes, everything simply exists. In, out. The rhythm of breathing remains constant, soothing, familiar. Each breath blends into the next, creating a continuous flow that never needs to be counted. The darkness feels gentle now, almost warm. It does not press, it does not weigh, it simply surrounds. The peasant sleeps deeply, completely. The night continues, somewhere far away, time inches forward. But here, in this small house, time has loosened its grip. Moments stretch, then blur, then disappear. There is no awareness of beginning or ending, only the present softness of rest. The peasant remains still, his body settled into sleep so deep that movement feels unnecessary. His face remains calm, his breath remains slow. In, out. The quiet becomes thicker, deeper, more complete. Even the idea of sound feels distant now. The world rests together, the house, the village, the fields, the sky, all resting. Nothing changes, nothing needs to. The night continues to exist in its own gentle way. Sleep remains undisturbed. The peasant drifts further into the calm, beyond thought, beyond memory, beyond awareness. There is no effort here, only stillness, only rest, only quiet. Breathing continues, in, out. The world feels far away now, like something remembered faintly, without detail. The darkness feels endless, and that endlessness feels safe. The peasant sleeps on, carried by the calm rhythm of the night. There is no story unfolding anymore, no events waiting, no ending approaching, just the continuation of quiet, just the continuation of rest. The night remains steady, unchanging, comforting. The peasant remains asleep, and everything continues exactly as it is.